Have you ever wondered how to maintain your happiness in your 70s or 80s when you felt isolated? Although most people don't discuss this type of question aloud, many older adults secretly deal with it on a daily basis. Life changes as the years pass. You wake up one day and discover that you have time, space, and quiet, but not always company. People move away, loved ones die, and connections wane. The fact is, though, that loneliness need not equate to misery. In actuality, a lot of people discover more joy, strength, and serenity in their solitude than they ever imagined. In this video, we'll look at 5 effective strategies to help you feel truly content living alone, particularly if you're an older adult without regular social connections or close friendships. These are genuine, significant changes that can restore comfort, clarity, and even a little lightness to your life. They are not simply survival strategies to help you understand not only what to do, but also why it works. Each of these 5 guides uses psychological insight, emotional wisdom, and real-world examples. There is something here that might change your perspective on this next phase of your life, regardless of how long you have been alone or how recently you became so. And pay close attention, because the final few suggestions may not only improve your mood, but also fundamentally alter the way you perceive loneliness in the future. Let's begin. The first guide is a meaningful daily routine. Establishing a daily routine that provides structure, comfort, and a sense of purpose is one of the most obvious ways to feel content while living alone. The world frequently determines your schedule when you're younger: work, kids, appointments, and responsibilities. However, in later life, particularly when you're by yourself, you wake up to find that nobody is expecting anything or waiting for you. And if that kind of open space isn't carefully planned, it can subtly sap your energy. Having a routine means you wake up knowing where your feet will go next, not that your day has to be packed. Perhaps you spend 5 peaceful minutes by a sunny window in the morning, along with a warm cup of coffee. Perhaps you stretch gently before supper, or go for a quick walk after lunch every day. Peace is produced by rhythm, which is produced by these tiny patterns. Although it may appear straightforward, your brain prefers structure that is predictable. Life feels more stable when there is a rhythm to your day, even if no one else is involved, much like music requires a beat. Additionally, you spend less time feeling lost or stuck when you know what's coming up next. You change from aimlessly cruising to gently advancing. However, that does not imply that every moment must be productive. On the contrary, rest, such as a midday nap or time dedicated to reading a good book or taking care of your plants, is one of the most nourishing routines. Honoring your day as though it matters, because it does, is the aim, not filling your time like you're patching holes. Selecting your own structure has profound psychological advantages as well. Making decisions about how to spend your time restores your sense of control. You're telling yourself, even in tiny ways, this is my life, I still guide it. This sense of control improves your mood and self-esteem, particularly during a time when there may not be many demands from the outside world. Harold, 76, for instance, writes down 3 things each morning: a task, a treat, and a thought. It could be as easy as folding laundry, a stroll while listening to music, and the thought sometimes a quote, sometimes just be the treat. Day after day, that silent routine has prevented his days from becoming a grey blur. It makes him want to get up and smile. When you live alone, the danger before bed is not simply boredom, but also the sense that your days are no longer important. However, they do, And one of the most effective ways to remind yourself of that is to establish a daily routine, no matter how small. You only need rhythm and a small amount of intention to feel your own life taking shape. A crowd is not necessary guide to emotional self-reliance. Being able to be your own emotional anchor is one of the best things you can do as you age, especially if you're by yourself. There are times when you feel extremely quiet, perhaps a bit too quiet when you're not surrounded by friends or family on a daily basis. It's when you get home to find your house empty, or when you want to share something, like a memory, a laugh, or even a grievance, but no one is around to listen. In those situations, emotional independence becomes not only beneficial but also necessary. Being emotionally independent means knowing how to console yourself when no one else is around, not acting as though you don't need anyone. It's the capacity to sit with your own emotions, whether they're joyous, serene, thankful, or unsure, and treat yourself with the same consideration that you would a friend. This is something that many elderly people were never taught to do. You were taught to work hard, persevere, and never give up when you were growing up. However, this phase of life calls for something kinder, paying attention to yourself and reacting thoughtfully. Start with the mental dialogue you have with yourself. When you make a mistake, do you act harshly? Do you obsess over missed opportunities or regrets? Seeing that voice and softening it is the first step toward emotional independence. It may feel odd at first, but eventually, this kind of inner kindness becomes your emotional backbone. Try telling yourself, "I did my best today. It's okay to feel this way," or simply, "I'm here. I've got me." Consider this. As a child, you may have looked to a friend, spouse, or sibling for comfort. Those individuals might not be present at all, or may become distant over time. You can still be that voice for yourself, though. You are able to identify your own needs and respond to them politely and patiently. I know an 8-woman named Carol who writes to herself every night in a small journal. He refers to it as evening check-in. It can be a single sentence, like "I felt lonely at dinner, but I'm proud I made something warm and ate at the table." Or it can be a whole page on some nights. She claims it makes her feel seen, even though no one else reads it. And sometimes, even when you're by yourself, feeling seen is what you need most when you're alone. Breath and stillness are also effective ways to develop emotional self-reliance. When feelings of sadness, fear, or even annoyance surface, pause to take a deep, slow breath. Your body receives the message, "We're okay," and your mind has time to react rather than just react. These minor routines eventually develop into dependable resources that can support you during difficult times, long days, or unexpected periods of loss. It's also critical to let go of the stigma associated with loneliness. Being lonely is a sign of humanity, not of failure. Emotional self-reliance encourages you to sit with that emotion for a little while before gently guiding yourself back toward calm. Like steady hands on a steering wheel, as opposed to escaping it. The best part is that you become less reliant on erratic outside sources when you learn to take care of your own emotional needs. Naturally, you still enjoy connection when it occurs, but it is no longer necessary for your peace. That's strength, not loneliness. Resilience is that. Please leave a comment below with your number 2 to let me know if you're still watching this video and finding these insights helpful. To ensure you don't miss any videos, I advise you to subscribe and turn on the bell if you haven't already. We can keep producing high-quality content to educate and uplift you thanks to your support. Let's go on to the third guideline, which is to find joy in the little things in life. Big adventures and significant life events don't always translate into happiness when you're living alone, especially as you get older. It's more often found in the little things, like the soft sound of your favorite singer playing through a tiny speaker in the corner of the room, the warmth of the sun on your hands, or the familiar smell of something cooking on the stove. Many people ignore these minor sensory delights, but for those who are by themselves, they can become the highlight of the day. Your senses taste, smell, touch, sound, and sight are potent conduits to happiness. Additionally, you have the chance to slow down and truly take in your surroundings when you're not surrounded by people. That tea in your favorite mug, it's comfort as well as hydration. The blanket you drape over your legs while enjoying a good film, it's reassurance, not just warmth. Without you even recognizing it, those small bodily sensations begin to improve your mood when you focus on them. These details are psychologically significant for a reason. Our minds become grounded in the here and now when we use our senses. And for a lot of elderly people who live alone, that moment can ... I feel vital. You're not worrying about the future or regrets from the past. Here you are, allowing the breeze to caress your face through the window. It is in the noticing, not the hurry, that peace resides. Light a candle before dinner, even if it's just you. Give it a try. Feel the softness of freshly laundered socks when you put them on. Play some music from your childhood, but don't just listen to it. Remember to hum along, dance a little, and let it move you. These are little ways to tell yourself, I'm still here. I still matter, rather than rewards you have to earn. Let me tell you about 84-year-old Ralph. He peels one orange every afternoon and eats it slowly by the window. He claims that the taste sweet and slightly sports him back to his childhood, and that the scent reminds him of the home he grew up in. He takes his time. He eats that orange every day. It gives him a connection to life, to memories, and to a peaceful joy that is unrelated to other people. Additionally, touch has a very calming effect, particularly when it comes to items that are cozy, textured, or soft. This explains why, whether they realize it or not, so many people, when sitting by themselves, caress a chair's armrest, wrap themselves in a warm robe, or hold their own hands tenderly. You can provide yourself with the physical connection that humans crave by petting a dog or cat, taking a warm bath, or rubbing lotion into your hands. It all appeals to the part of you that still craves attention. Don't undervalue taste either. It's simple to start eating for fuel rather than enjoyment when you're by yourself. However, it can be a self-respecting act to prepare something you like, sit down with it, and really taste it. Remembering that you deserve pleasure as well is more important than being ostentatious. A piece of buttered toast or a bite of chocolate are two small treats that let your body know you care. All of this is connected by one potent truth. Even if your life is quiet, it is still full of sensation. One of the simplest, most efficient ways to feel alive, again not busy, not distracted, but present, is to tune into those senses. The movement of the curtains in a breeze is beautiful. A bite of your favorite pie brings happiness. The scent of clean sheets, the feel of your fingers on a teacup's rim, or the sound of a fire on TV can all bring you calm. It's all yours and doesn't depend on anyone else. You develop a sort of friendship with life itself by learning to recognize and appreciate these moments. You can have a relationship with your world that is just as rich and nourishing as any conversation you might have with someone else. These small joys transform the quiet into something sacred rather than merely filling it. And that change can have a huge impact on people who live alone. The fourth tip is to make indirect connections with the environment. Simply because you lack, you can still feel connected to the world and to other people, even if you have close friends nearby. In actuality, some of the strongest connections are made through quiet, everyday interactions that serve as a reminder that you are still a part of something greater than yourself, rather than through in-depth discussions or frequent visits. Living alone can make you feel invisible, especially as you age. Nobody looks up when you walk through the store, and nobody stops to greet you when you sit in a park. What I want you to know, though, is that you don't always need someone to know your whole story in order to be seen. That sense of belonging can occasionally be restored with a simple look, a nod, or a moment of kindness shared by all. Begin modestly. Make eye contact with everyone you pass on your walk. Smile gently and say, "Good morning." Contributing something, even if no one sees it directly, is another effective way to stay connected. You might not strike up a conversation, and you might never see them again. But those small gestures matter because they convey the message, "I'm still here, and so are you." Dennis, a 79-year-old man I spoke with, leaves notes in library books. He will never know who reads them, but by doing so, he feels a part of a chain, a silent network of human hearts encouraging one another. They are small, just a line or two. This story made me laugh. Hope it brings you a smile too. Or well, you're not alone. Keep going. Another worthwhile route is volunteering, even in tiny ways. While some older adults knit blankets for hospitals or write cards for hospice patients, others read to children on the phone. Simply showing up in whatever way you can helps you re-establish a relationship with life. You don't need to be gregarious or loud. It serves as a reminder that you still have something valuable to offer. Technology can also provide subtle connections. Even if you don't feel like using social media right now, there may be a forum or a video comment section where people your age are reading, commenting, and sharing stories. Community also includes simply knowing that there are others who share your feelings, or perhaps you like to leave a positive review for a nearby bakery or send birthday cards to your neighbors. Even though these things may seem insignificant, they have a big impact, and you start to feel like people are taking notice of you, not with much fanfare, but with warmth. Your energy's direction is crucial in this situation. You're extending outward, slowly, silently, and steadily, as opposed to closing off and turning inward. I may be alone, but I'm not disconnected. You're telling the world, and life has a way of answering. When was the last time you received a nice gesture from a stranger? Perhaps someone said something kind in passing, held a door, or assisted you with carrying a bag. Do you recall the sensation of that? In addition to strengthening your own sense of connection, you can be that moment for someone else. Additionally, just being in communal areas can bring a certain calm. Sitting at a cafe or strolling through a market doesn't require you to talk. A visit to a museum or a local garden can help your spirit rediscover what it means to be human. You're involved. You're not just watching, even if it's solitary and quiet. The world needs people like you, and that's a gentle truth. Individuals who pay attention, value the small things, and smile without expecting anything in return. The world is made stronger by your presence, stability, and quiet strength. Therefore, your presence reverberates outside your house even when you are by yourself. Every tiny gesture of care, kindness, or attention builds a bond. One silent ripple at a time, you can begin the wave without waiting for someone to reach out. Please let me know in the fourth comment below if you're still watching this video and finding these insights helpful. To ensure you don't miss any videos, I advise you to subscribe and turn on the bell if you haven't already. We can keep producing high-quality content to educate and uplift you thanks to your support. Let's go on to the fifth guideline, which is to continue learning and maintaining your curiosity. Keeping your mind active is one of the most significant ways to maintain your happiness when the bustle of social life subsides and you have more time to yourself than ever before. Not sidetracked, not merely amused, but genuinely alive with wonder, curiosity, and learning about the world you're still very much a part of. It's a common misconception that our brains simply stop growing and learning as we get older. However, life experience and neuroscience paint a different picture. Your brain has the capacity to expand its knowledge, form new connections, and learn new things as long as you are breathing. In fact, those who have maintained an open mind even when life has become quiet are often the most contented older adults. Learning is simply allowing newness to enter your mind. It doesn't entail returning to school or taking on a large, daunting project. This could be anything from reading a book you never would have picked up to watching a documentary about a topic outside of your typical interests, trying a new recipe that calls for an ingredient you have never used in cooking, or even just listening to a podcast while doing the laundry, which can inspire you to think of something new. An 82-year-old man named Frank began painting last year. He had never, ever picked up a brush, but he just started after passing an art store one day while out for a walk and purchasing a small watercolor set. He claims that although he doesn't create masterpieces, he feels a sense of awakening whenever he dips his brush into water. He's learning to be patient with himself and to see color in a different way. And he claims that what fills his days again is the process of learning rather than the final product. When you maintain your curiosity, life begins to open up rather than feel like it's closing in. You start to notice more and form small connections, relationships between things, between new and old experiences, between what you've always known and what you're still learning. Engaging in that kind of activity gives your mind a destination, and when your mind is progressing, even in a small way, it is much more difficult for feelings of hopelessness or loneliness to establish themselves. Learning also has the wonderful side effect of improving your relationship with yourself. In essence, when you explore new ideas, you're telling yourself, I still have questions, I still care, I still want to know more. This is a powerful affirmation, particularly during a time in life when many people feel undervalued or forgotten. This need not be formal or academic. Every week, gardening teaches you something new. Observing birds outside your window can turn into a daily research project. Your spiritual life will become richer if you learn a new prayer, hymn, or meditation technique. Even putting your memories and life experiences in writing allows you to recognize patterns, lessons, and significance that might have slipped your mind for years. Maintaining mental activity also enhances general health. Seniors who maintain their mental engagement tend to think more clearly, remember things better, and be more emotionally resilient, according to studies. It's about maintaining interest and allowing yourself to be surprised by something, not about memorizing facts or solving math problems. Whether it came from a book, a conversation, a movie, or even a mistake you made, consider the last time you learned something that caused you to pause and say, I didn't know that. What restores your sense of youth is that epiphany, that tiny glimmer of interest. You feel more alive the more you feed it, You have a great opportunity in the privacy of your own home. Your mind can either expand or contract. Stillness and peace are the results of one path, while stagnation and sadness are the results of the other. Choosing to read the book, watch the show, or ask the question can make a big difference. So keep your mind active, whether it's a puzzle on your table, a map on your wall, or an old memory you choose to write down today. Just out of curiosity, not in a panic or under pressure. Even in the quietest times, it will not only keep you company, but also give your life color, shape, and purpose, because happiness isn't just the result of distraction. It's also the result of focus, exploration, and realizing that there are still new things to discover in this stage of life, and that they might even alter your perspective on the world or yourself. Concluding remarks. As we conclude this video, pause for a moment to consider these 5 guidelines. Which one affected you the most? Perhaps the thought that happiness can still be found in the smell of a warm meal or the feel of soft fabric against your skin. Or perhaps the reminder to establish a consistent routine. Keep it, whatever it was, sit with it. As an older adult, living alone can occasionally be. The truth is that this stage of life offers a different kind of beauty, but I feel like I'm looking in from the outside. A slower, more subdued beauty that promotes tranquility, development, and self-respect rather than clamor or praise. Being alone does not make you less than. Because fewer people are calling, you are not forgotten. You might even be more aware of yourself now than you have ever been. Such inner wisdom is uncommon and potent. You can still create your own happiness without a crowd. Whether you're reading on your porch, standing at the kitchen sink, or lying in bed with the screen lit, up in the dark, simply having the guts to try something new or see something old from a different perspective. And keep in mind that you're not really alone in this. People like you, people learning how to live well, even in solitude, abundant in this community. Right here in the comments, we appreciate you being here with us today. We would be delighted to hear from you. Tell us about one thing you learned today and how you intend to apply it in your life in the comments section below. We value your opinions, so please feel free to express them. We are greatly inspired and encouraged by reading your comments. Please like, subscribe, and share this video if you found it entertaining and useful. We can keep producing high-quality content to educate and uplift you thanks to your support. We appreciate your time and hope to see you in the upcoming video.